everyone, Jason here, digital marketing consultant, and in this sales funnel strategy guide, you're going to be getting a proven B2B sales funnel template and traffic strategy for generating qualified leads for your services-based business. So if you're an entrepreneur, freelancer, or consultant, this sales funnel is for you. Make sure you check out the timestamp table of contents in the description to jump around this video, along with some other helpful links and playlists that I'm going to be referencing throughout this funnel guide. And you'll notice as we go through this B2B sales funnel is going to be a little different than some sales funnels you've seen in the past, and that's simply because it's designed to get us off the hamster wheel of spending a bunch of time and energy trying to get clients, and then all of a sudden we get overloaded with work, and then we finish the work, and then we have to start the cycle all over again. Especially as freelancers and consultants, it's a terrible hamster wheel that I see a lot of people fall into, so I want to make sure that we avoid that. So here are the 5 steps of the sales funnel you're going to be able to copy for yourself. The very first step is traffic, and we'll get into why we actually need to start with traffic, beginning with the end in mind. Then we're going to have our offer, we're going to be building rapport, we're going to book, and then finally we're going to close. Well, hopefully close. At least get them on the phone, and then I'll leave the closing up to you. So let's go ahead and dive in. The very first step is traffic. And the reason we want to think about traffic before we put together a sales funnel is we need to remember that the whole purpose of this is to build trust, authority, and rapport so that the sales process is easier and smoother when you're on that sales call way at the end of the funnel. Now, to make sure that this is successful, we need to think about what's the first touch point that a potential customer or client has with our funnel. And so this is why I recommend starting with content, but you can also do ads, and I'll go through the pros and cons and a hybrid version. So you have 3 options here. The first option is content. So you're going to make a video or a blog post that just demonstrates that you know what you're talking about. And the best way to demonstrate it is by solving a small problem for your ideal customer. So you don't have to solve the same problem that your service solves, but you can think about something that they may be struggling with now that you can give them a quick win or an aha moment through your content. And if you want to learn more about how to structure your content, come up with content ideas, the first video link in the description is a content marketing 101 plan that will actually walk you through how to create pre-sales funnel content. Now, the second thing you can do is run ads. Now, the great thing about running ads is, unlike content, you can see results within a few weeks, where content, while it is on autopilot, will take a few months to start bringing in clients and customers. So the awesome things with ads is it gives you a much faster result. The problem, though, is it's very hard to demonstrate your value through an ad, and you're not going to have very much rapport building. So your email sequence that we talk about later has to be really strong if you're doing cold traffic and ads versus using content. Now, a great hybrid model is actually promoting your content and then using ads to remarket to people who've already engaged with your content. So that's kind of the best of both worlds, where you have the power of content marketing and you're using advertising to speed up the process of views that get to your content as opposed to waiting for it to rank organically. So that's the very first step of our process. The second step of the sales funnel is crafting an opt-in offer where we can collect their name and email. Now, I know we want to get them on the phone at the end, but we don't need to ask for the phone number right now because there are a large majority of people who just don't want to talk to anybody yet. They're not ready to hop on the phone with you. Those who are ready to hop on the phone with you, they'll fill out your contact form and ask for a call directly. Trust me, that's how it works. So for everybody else, the other 99% of people, we're just going to collect their name and email by making an offer to get them into our sales funnel sequence. Now, what's very important is there are 3 types of offers you should make. And these are the only 3 that I recommend for this type of B2B sales funnel for services. Number 1 is an audit. Number 2 is a webinar. And number 3 is a tool. So I'm gonna go through each one of these. Number 1 is the audit. And the reason you want to do an audit is because we want to agitate whatever problem they have, right? Chances are you have a service that's going to help them get from where they are to where they want to be. So we want to show that where they are is a lot worse than they thought, and they really do need some help getting to that next level or getting to that next step. An audit or a checklist is a great way to do this because it forces them to go through how you would evaluate their situation, and hopefully by the end of it, they see, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how bad this was, right? Now, we don't want to make things up or make them feel terrible about themselves or belittle them in any way. That's not what we're doing here. The audit is simply to show them, help them see the reality of their situation and help paint a picture that their situation's a little worse than they thought, and maybe fixing it sooner rather than later is a good idea. Now, the second type is a webinar, and this is one that I actually don't recommend doing right off the bat, simply because webinars take so long to put together. But if you're interested in putting together a webinar, there's a link in the description to a full playlist that walks you A to Z and all of the little steps in between to writing your webinar, putting together the slides, and which software to use, all that fun stuff, link in the description. And then finally, number 3, we have a Excel sheet or Google Doc. Now, I know most people don't like putting these together. You can go to Upwork or Fiverr and essentially pay 20 to 50 bucks to have someone put together a tracker or a calculator. So this is a great way if you're dealing with numbers at all in your business. For example, as a marketing agency, we deal a lot with advertising. So one of the things that we're actually working on putting together is a calculator showing how much they're losing on their ad spend because of the inefficiencies in their advertising account. Now, obviously this isn't going to work for everyone, but the point is whatever tool you put together, it should help show them where they are and then the huge gap between where they want to be. And of course, your service or product is going to fill that gap. So I hope that makes sense. Make sure you comment below if you have any questions or you're struggling with coming up with an idea for an audit or a calculator for your business. Once we have that offer, it's time to build rapport, right? So hopefully we've gotten their name and email, they've seen our ad or content, and they're engaging with one of our 3 offers. And now we have a 5 email sequence that we're going to build rapport and help agitate the problem and show them how much better their life is going to be as a result of purchasing your product or service. So this is how we warm them up for the booking and of course the call. So the very first email in our sequence is, here's your audit. You link to the offer that you made, or here's your calculator, or here's a link to your webinar time, whatever the offer is. And then you go ahead and have 3 to 5 bullet points of why it's awesome and how it will help them achieve the result that they're looking for, or how it's going to help them avoid traps that a lot of other people fall into. Now for the second email, we're going to be talking about the biggest challenge they face. So talk about how hard it is to achieve the result that they're trying to achieve, and then debunk some common myths. And these myths should be tied to buying objections, and you'll actually introduce your paid offer, which is of course booking a strategy or discovery call with you. Now, the third email, we're going to do a story of success. So it's a story of yourself or previous client of how working with you helped them achieve the result that they were looking for. And then the next 2 emails are Big Benefit 1 and Big Benefit 2. These are pretty much the same format. We're just going to be talking about different benefits and pain points. And what we want to do is focus on how our service can help make their life easier and paint a really clear picture of, hey, this is what happens if you don't take any action, and then this is what happens if you do take action. And so with these 5 emails, you're going to build rapport, and you're going to have in each one of these, you're going to, with the exception of the first one, you'll be asking them to book a free discovery or strategy call with you to see if you can be helpful in solving their problem or taking them to the next level. Now, what's very important here is if you're doing a webinar, your webinar call to action is actually going to be to book a strategy call with you. So emails 2 through 5 would come after your webinar. So just a quick asterisk if you're doing a webinar. So with that, you're ready for step number 4 of your B2B sales funnel template, and that is booking. So there are a couple of software options we have here to help automate this process, because something that has caused me a lot of headaches is the back and forth emails of trying to schedule a call, especially in different time zones, right? So there are 2 apps that I recommend, or programs that I recommend using, Book Like a Boss and Calendly. They both offer free to start plans, so you're not going to be paying, 10 or 20 bucks a month out of the gate. And essentially what this allows you to do is set up a calendar, so when you drive people to your booking page, or you can drive them directly to these programs, they can just choose a time slot that works for them, and it will automatically figure out all that time zone stuff, and then you don't have to worry about the back and forth emails. This will save you so much time. I can't stress this enough. Now, the second part of the booking process, once they've chosen their time and their time slot, of course, you can do 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, however long you want the call to be. You can go ahead and use Google Forms to set up a pre-strategy call survey. Now, this is very important, so important. Please, please, please don't skip this step. This is how you're going to pre-qualify people who get on the phone with you. You want to have 3 to 5 questions max. You don't want to make this like a 30-minute ordeal for someone who's who's going to get on the call with you, but you do want to make it so that you have enough information to know whether or not this is a good fit. So for example, on our pre-strategy call form, we actually have a question that asks, what is your marketing budget, or how much have you spent on advertising in the past? This gives us a ballpark of what their budget is, and most importantly, it lets us know if any of the services that we offer would be a good fit. Because if someone only has $200 or $300 a month to spend on ads, well then we're probably not the best solution for them. So we always want to make sure that we're not wasting our time, and arguably just as important, you don't want to be wasting your prospects' time, because it's disrespectful to them getting on the phone knowing that they're not going to be able to afford your product or service, or they're not a good fit. So make sure one of those questions is making sure that they are actually going to be a good fit for your product or service. And finally, we have the close. And this is where you're actually getting on the phone. And this is the first step in the process. This is what makes this so great. This is the first step in the process where you have to take your individual time, right? So at every point before this, we've leveraged the power of technology. You haven't had to use any of your personal time. You've been off working with other clients or making more content or testing your ads. And now you're only getting on the phone with someone who's gone through your entire sequence, already believes that you can be valuable to them, and you've pre-qualified them with the survey so you know that they might be a good fit. And of course, the two big tips I have for you here, this could be a video in and of itself, is of course make sure that you show up on time, and remember that not everyone is going to be a good fit. Nobody has 100% close rate, and it's just natural to begin to learn about who's coming through your sales funnel. And what's really cool is after 5 to 10 sales calls, you're going to have a pretty good idea of what you need to change earlier in your sales funnel so that you get more of the right people and filter out those who aren't a good fit. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe for more in-depth sales funnel strategies just like the ones covered in this video. Remember to check out the timestamp table of contents and some other helpful links to help you put together your B2B sales funnel. So hit that like button, subscribe, and as always, keep building the business you love.